Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. How you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. How you guys doing today? What's up, my brother?
What's up, B? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, I'm good. How you today?
Man, I'm well.
Good, good, good. Another day. We made it another week, my brother. How
Man,
was your week this week?
man, I had a pretty good week, bro. We had
Okay,
Golden Gloves boxing, so we had a few guys that went down to Grand Rapids. They had a pretty good experience, so you know,
okay.
good to be a part of a program that's greater than you. You know what I mean? So it's another way of giving back. So I'm definitely excited about that and
Absolutely, absolutely.
that program, the fitness program, as well as boxing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had an opportunity, man. My nephew graduated from basic training, man. So
Okay.
we had an opportunity to go down there and love on him a little bit. I haven't seen him in a minute, man. So it was great to see him and celebrate his accomplishment.
Okay. So what's next for him? Now do he start his regular training?
Ah,
Is it possibly
yes,
overseas?
yes, yeah. He's here for a little minute doing some more training. Then I guess they're gonna um, ship him off overseas or what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's good, man. You got a chance.
Absolutely. So what we doing today?
Man, we talking about a very important topic. It's mental health month, right?
Okay.
So let's dive into a conversation about mental health. Uh, and
Absolutely.
take it from
Absolutely.
but yeah, it's a very important thing when you talk about mental health because your mental health really determines everything about you. Your health is your wealth. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So let me start with you. When you hear that word mental health, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Um, I guess personally, I think about how you're thinking
Yeah,
or your thought process and your well being.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself?
That's what I had in mind. Your mental health is definitely your psychological and
Yeah.
emotional well being. And when you say that, that could be a lot of things that that shape and form that, but that's pretty much what it is.
Right. 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 Yeah. I think this is a great topic because I think a lot of people suffer from this,
Right.
and I'm gonna say just my opinion. I think us as blacks don't like to go talk to anyone or go get help with our mental health.
Right.
And I think that's really important. I mean, I I really think you just need to put yourself again around like-minded people. Talk to someone or
Mhm.
have someone to talk to that's really going to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I know you and my relationship is like that. I can talk to you about different things, and you're really honest with me. You'll talk to me about stuff, and I'll be really honest with you. Um, it's hard sometimes because with doing that, I don't want to rub you the wrong way or I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I think it's important that I say whatever I need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's
I
your thoughts with that?
our comments, man. A lot of times we don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that they have issues,
Yeah,
or they don't realize the importance of just not educated on what mental health is. And
correct.
if people aren't educated on it, it go back to the word that say we perish from a lack of knowledge, right? And so
Yes,
we'll automatically say that we're fine or that our mental health is good without taking everything into accountability. So I think it's very important that we make assessments of self, uh,
Right.
pretty much on a daily basis, man, because we going through a lot, bro. When you look at, it's really like a fight on top of a fight inside of another fight, multiple fights. Not
Sure.
only we still dealing with COVID-19, but we're dealing with war and rumors of war, and we're
Yeah.
dealing with gas prices being so high, and we're dealing with food deserts in so many places, and all these things, it could take a toll on us. And if we don't have outlets, and if we don't have people to talk to, or if we're not proactive on it, then we're gonna suffer in one way or another, and sometimes we don't even know it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, brother, let's dig into it. Let's dig into it. You ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Go ahead. You want to give me the first question, or you want me to?
I'll take the first one, and then we'll read the comments and work the room as we're going too.
Absolutely. Actually, let's read some of the comments first, and then go into it.
Okay. Somebody was just saying, being melanin persons of the 80s, we weren't encouraged to speak mental health. It was looked down on and an embarrassment or something was wrong with you. I agree. You know, a lot of
One,
times we did try to act
one
like
hundred
one
percent.
of these issues. And I think, man, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay. Simply saying, acknowledge it, deal with it, and move on. But if you never acknowledge it, if you
Right.
deal with it, then you can't get better. And if your mental health is bad, then it's going to determine everything around you. You could be the richest person in the world and have
Right.
poor mental health.
I think as a man, it gets tough because most guys want to hold things in instead of saying you hurt me,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they feel weak saying, hey, you hurt my feelings in this particular situations, or I'm not comfortable the way you came at me. It has to be a tough exterior instead of just talking about the situation or just saying, you know what, man, listen, you made me feel uncomfortable in this situation, or I didn't appreciate this. You know what I mean? And I think the older I get, the better I am with that. And especially my loved ones, the people I love,
Uh-huh.
I had to understand, I had to learn that it's okay to just talk to them and express myself and say, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurt in this area, or I'm uncomfortable in this area, right?
Right.
And not feel like a punk or not feel like, oh, I feel weak or whatever, you know. And to be honest, to talk about it, it feels good to just express that sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I want to read some of my comments. Somebody say it bothers them when a person say they too strong for something when that isn't indeed strength. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
That's powerful because
that was too powerful.
you have to be strong enough to know that you need help. And that's when true strength,
Yeah.
true and that I'm reminded of the scripture to say we are made perfect, and our strength is made perfect. His strength is made perfect in our weakness. So
Right.
you have to have that weak moment to know that you need help. If you
I
can never,
mean, to be honest, I think it's weak to pretend a situation is okay rather than to talk about it.
right,
I think that's the weakness and
right,
not the strength. The strength is to talk about it, get it out, address a situation rather than to your feelings be hurt or let something just, go by. Yeah.
right. All right. So I guess my first question to you on a personal level,
Sure.
what signs that you know that your mental health need attention?
Repeat that, and I'm sorry it went out. What did you say?
What are some of your signs to let you know that your mental health needs attention?
Um, I think for me, it would be how I feel. Because I mean, realistically, I think it's how I feel, my feelings, right?
Right.
And and then just different thoughts that go across your head. and I think, like we were talking about, mental health is more mental, right?
Right.
So mentally, you're feeling a certain way, or you say, okay, this is getting me down, or I think when I'm feeling that kind of way, we really need to check. Um, Start working on situations, or say, okay, you know what? How can I uplift myself, or how can I get out this funk?
Yeah.
Because that's how you feel, or that's how I feel in those situations, like depressed or down, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big issue with me. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
I'm feeling that way,
Hmm.
um, to just address that, and to be totally honest, I play different games or tricks with myself to say, okay, you know what? This bothered me, um, but why did it bother me? And I start questioning myself or going through it in my head,
Right.
um, even before I address someone else, right? Because me doing that, asking myself these questions, when I do come at someone else, I want to come at them correctly, and I don't want to come at them bogus and just say, okay, hey, am I really feeling this way?
Yeah.
Or
I
is it just,
Somebody said not sleeping or sleeping all day is also a sign. And that's how it is for me personally. Not work, when I am not at work,
mhm,
I just want to sleep. So if I find myself sleeping longer than what my average nap is, I know like that's my way of shutting down. You know what I'm saying? So if you can address something at its beginning stage, then you can usually catch it. And that go for both physical sickness as well as your mental health as well. If you can catch it in the beginning, so I just think it's very important to know yourself. Like you
right,
are feeling
right,
loss of energy, and you know what I'm saying. If you really energetic and all of a sudden you're not, that energy is gone, or if you are used to being a people's person and you no longer want to be that, these are all signs. And like we say in the beginning, you have to talk about it.
how can you correct yourself in a mental health situation? How do you feel like you can correct yourself when you're in a mental health, when you are having a mental health situation?
If I feel like I'm unbalanced, you know, I like to always meditate is one thing, and then
Okay,
myself anything positive, because it has to be something negative that gives you a negative mental, put you on that negative mental health stage. So
right,
express it with something positive. That could be listening to a motivation speech. It could be a 1 minute meditation. It could be a walk or a jog. Anything that's gonna take my mind off of whatever that thing negative that I'm going through, and just to add that positive factor to it.
okay,
No. I,
okay,
man, I even like the journal, bro. I write stuff down. You know, some of it be prayers that I write down. Some of it be just something that I want to manifest. And just
right,
read that.
right,
It's to me, man, you have to take yourself out of that moment. And
okay,
when you in that moment, sometimes that's hard because you feel like you facing a giant. But
yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
go past that moment and declare yourself victorious, then you're gonna get there. But you have to take
Right,
yourself out of that moment, man. So
absolutely.
really just a cycle that needs to be broken. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
From being a married man, how does your wife mental health? How does her mental health affect you?
Big time,
Mm,
big time, because um, however, I'm gonna say as a man, um, I always want to be the protector, right?
right.
I always want to try to make situations better. And I had to learn I can't control everything,
Right.
right? I think more than anything, sometimes we have to just sit back and listen rather than, and I think that's with any situation, any relationship.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think we have to sit back and just listen sometimes instead of trying to fix everything,
Right.
right?
I agree.
But if you're close with someone, I think anyone in any relationship, if they're feeling a certain kind of way, it affects you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it affects you. So um, if her mental health isn't together, or if she's feeling some kind of way, yeah, I have a problem with it. I think it affects me. It affects me also.
Right. I
So
agree.
yeah,
You got any comments coming up on yours? Mine's temporarily froze. I don't know why I do that.
no, not right now.
Okay.
Um, how does co-parenting, boom, affect your mental health?
It's for me. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, especially when it comes to parenting time, because I'm the father who wish I had more time. And so for a judge to tell me that every other weekend is enough to spend time with your child who you help bring in this world, who you there
Hmm.
for mentally, emotionally, financially,
Right.
that weekend stuff just don't get it. And so
Okay.
it's been times, man, where it's been a real challenge because I had to motivate myself to just take advantage of the time I do have. So I try to use FaceTime and
Okay.
other things like that in order to see the kids. But it makes a big difference, man. But with myself and with the kids, I always just try to end things on a positive note, even when I don't like it. And that could be a challenge, but it's been a lot of parents, both fathers and females, that have truly suffered from not being able to spend time with their kids or having co-parenting issues. So it plays a huge factor, man, especially when
Okay.
you have to balance that thing out.
Okay. Man, I want to do a follow up with that. How do you think that affects your children?
Uh, I think children altogether, man, we have to. It's easy for our generation to say that we had it harder than them, or being a child isn't tough, but it is. It's a different fight. They challenge.
Everybody has their struggles. Yes.
Yeah, they had to deal with the pandemic and being isolated from their friends. Couldn't go to
Sure.
school for so long of a time, and then social media by itself it puts a heavy weight on kids. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so
Okay.
all these negative things, we have to make sure that their mental health stays well, and we have to keep on talking to them and checking on them on a daily basis because it's a different fight than we went through, but you know, I don't think that their fight isn't any easier than ours. It's just different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the co-parenting part, when co-parenting isn't done, maturely, it can have a huge strain on the child because when the child is with the mother, the child could really feel and wish it was with the father, and with the father, wish it was with the mother. So it could put a negative strain on that child. So it
Yeah.
just for a person to say, you know what, let's do what's best for the children instead of what's best for us, individually.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it needs to be a happy medium, and then just I think if you put child first,
Hmm.
and I'm saying on both ends,
Yeah.
um, everything will work itself out. I think it's hard though, and because being in a relationship with someone
Mhm.
and then the relationship not working out for whatever reason, I
Mhm.
I think that tends to come back up or is feeling still hurt,
Right.
right? And people can say no, it's not, but a lot of the times I think that's the situation.
Yeah.
Especially uh, you're being judged on your past or who you was and not who you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that's man, that's one of the things about mental health is just because you made certain changes in your life, that
mhm.
doesn't mean that other people gonna see you as that changed person, right?
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
you make that mental that change, psychologically, they still remember some of the wrong you did in the past,
Yeah.
right?
And not being funny, um, they have every right to,
They do.
because and I say that because your change came after them, right?
Yeah.
And they don't know that change, and they don't know that person because you guys aren't interacting with each other like that anymore, right?
Yeah. Hey,
So
you know what that remind me of in the Bible?
what's that?
That remind me of Saul,
Okay,
not the Old Testament, but Saul of the New Testament.
right.
Uh, he was later converted to the Apostle Paul, and so when he went in certain places to preach, they didn't accept him because they like, hey, you was the man who was once a persecutor.
Right.
In their
Yep.
mind, they still seeing him as that persecutor, even though he had changed.
Yep.
So it just leads to say, just because you change, people don't always, you know what I'm saying, accept it.
Right.
They,
Because they was judging him on who he was before.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's deep.
yeah. So
That's
yeah,
deep.
you have to understand that again, just because you in a certain place, somebody else mental health might not see you in that place. So we
Yeah.
have to be conscious of other people's mental health as well, because it's always it's a struggle for all of us in one way or another.
Right.
And just because you have it together in one area doesn't mean that you have it together in another area. So
That's true.
it's important for us to find the area that we need help in instead of saying or thinking that we have it all together.
Yep. What you got for me?
Yeah, so that was powerful, man. I was just thinking about that, man. And as always, man, we should always want to get better. So with you getting better, we know the areas that you're strong in. What areas of your mental health do you feel like you need to strengthen up?
Um, I'm gonna say patience. I'm
Hmm.
gonna say think before reacting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot, and I'm gonna say in certain areas I do well with that, but in certain areas I don't do well, and I think um, the areas I don't do well
Uh-huh.
is with the people that are close to me,
Okay.
right? And the reason why is because I guess my expectation of them
Hmm.
is this, and with someone else that I really don't care about, I have all the patience in the world. And I know that seems funny, but the people I care about, I have less patience,
Okay.
right? So I think for me, it would be people that are close to me.
Right.
I have a really high expectation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
I'm reading, man, and they say that a lot of our mental health issues were rooted back to our childhood. And it go from childhood to your adolescence and you carry them over in your adulthood.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that same giant that you wasn't able to get rid of as a kid. You have to fight
Mhm.
the giant thought. Just you personally thinking, is there like anything from your childhood or your adolescence that you struggle with, that you still struggle with? Or is it something that you had a great victory over that you would like to talk about?
Um, I think confidence.
Hmm.
I think I don't lack that now, but I think then I lack confidence,
Hmm.
right? But I think just over time, um, that that came with understanding and knowing self,
Okay.
right? And I think just like with anything, the more you do something, the more you can trust it or trust the situation, right? And I think the confidence was me trusting myself in different situations or different areas,
Okay.
right? And so I think as a child or growing up, I didn't have a lot of confidence in situations, and just started to trust myself. And I'm gonna say from between I say 19 and 20 and up is when I start really um, having confidence,
Okay.
you know, and Now I think I got probably too much confidence. But because I don't have a problem, I don't, I don't have a problem failing, right?
Mhm.
Because I feel like if I try something and I fail or it doesn't go the way I want to, I understand that it's a learning experience,
Right.
right? And I don't, I don't have a problem with it when it's me doing it, rather me failing with someone else. I have a bigger problem with that.
Hmm.
Because if it's at my expense, I can live with that. But if it's at someone else's expense, I'm kind of embarrassed or I just have an issue with that sometimes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have an issue with that. How do you um how do you think your mental health with the elderly, with I'm gonna say within your family?
How do I think their mental health is in my family?
Yeah, and how do you react to that? And the reason why I
Yes.
ask that with the elderly is the older we deal with our grandmothers or what have you like that, right?
Mhm.
Their memory may go or some of their functions may go with their mental health. How is your how do you handle that or how do you deal with that?
Well, for me, I deal with my granny. She has dementia.
Right.
And so, we take turns caring for her throughout the day. And
Sure.
we have assigned days. And, for me, I'm always thinking of a way to make it fun, to make her remember. And
Right.
so things I use music. If I play
Okay.
some blues, she gonna get to, remembering, telling stories and
Right.
having a good time. So it's one of them situations, man, where you just have to find the best quality in it instead of complaining. I think in order for us to have good mental health, you have to take a bad situation and you have to say, okay, what good comes out of this bad situation or this challenging situation? What can I learn from it? How can I express my love? How can I be my best me? If we are a light, how can I bring my light into this dark situation?
Right.
Once you
Right. Right. Right.
then it won't become so difficult for you to be victorious over it. And a lot of that starts with knowing who you are.
Okay.
That you have a God inside of you, knowing that you are a light, knowing that you can bring positive energy into the room that changes the atmosphere, knowing that you are that royal priesthood and that chosen generation. You was meant to be the difference maker. As long as you think like that, you can't lose. But if you ever get to the point to where you allow yourself to become overwhelmed, that's when your mental health becomes an issue, and that's
Okay.
when emotions start to take control of you. So again, we always gonna be put into positions and predicament and go through situations where it's challenged. Without
Yeah.
that, you can't even prove if you have good mental health or if you have more mental health issues than you have uh, mental health balance.
Again, I'm going to lean back on patience, right? I think in those situations, we have to have patience, and we have to be patient um, in a lot of situations, especially when it comes with the elderly,
Yeah.
right? Um, my grandma is battling, is going through right now with cancer, and so um, when we talk, I just have to have patience, and I just have to be understanding, and just say, you know what? Usually we fuss at each other. Everybody just leave the room when me and her talking because they be like, oh, here they go.
Right.
And now I just want to enjoy
Yeah.
every moment I can get. I just want to enjoy and just say, you know what? We just have conversations and then just let her fuss. I don't even care. You know what I mean?
That's
I'm
part.
just so grateful to have that conversation.
Yeah, and that's a testament that your mental health, you know what I'm saying, has more
Mhm.
than it does weaknesses. Somebody asked a question: do you think men struggle with addressing mental health because they're always taught to be strong, man up, and be a man?
Yeah. Yep.
I think, I honestly think, bro, from my perspective, that
Mhm.
that has always been the old way of doing things. But I think it's changing. I think that's one of the changes for the good. You have more men now than ever understanding what true brotherhood is and helping each other out and having these conversations that you and I are having. I
Right.
think that more now than ever, we have more men that are willing to be vulnerable to say, "Hey, bro, I'm struggling right now." I think that with everything that's changing that's not good, I think that's one of the good changes, that you have more men that's willing to come together than you did in the past.
Right.
And the technology for that, because it brings us closer, you know what I'm saying, to be able to use an application like this, you know what I mean, where we could link,
Mhm.
because, in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, they didn't have this. So
Correct.
they had to come together amongst each other. And a lot of times when the men were done working, and
Hmm.
at that point in time, they wanted to come home and go to bed. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because things has changed, I think it's got better.
You know, I think we have to be flexible and be open minded on on just different situations because you were saying back in the day, back in I remember as a child, some men kind of ruled with the iron fist.
Absolutely.
You know
My
what I mean?
highway.
Huh?
It was kind of that my way or the highway
Right,
mentality.
right, right, right. And so now I think it's a little different now.
Yeah.
It's a little different now. I mean, I believe you know we just have to negotiate in a relationship. It's just I feel like it's negotiation. You know what I mean? We have to just say, okay, you know what? We had talked about this before, and I really took it to heart. And it stuck with me when you said somebody said it's who knows the situation knows more about this situation,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
And ever since they said that to me, it really kind of changed my thought process even within my own relationship because I was just like, okay, you know what? Sometimes I need to just sit back instead of trying to figure everything out or trying to know everything. Um, and just say, okay, if she knows this area better than I do, let's rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's rock.
Somebody said that major life changes can trigger your mental health. How do you react to
Mm.
life changes?
Um, it depends on what it is.
Yep, exactly. It definitely do.
It depends on what it is. Every day, um, I go through with my mom.
Hmm.
This has been the craziest thing. It goes through my head every day,
Right.
right? And so it's me thinking about situations or say, I wish I could talk to her.
Mm.
I wish she would have went on this trip with us, or I wish I'd have went down there a little more, or I would, So, um, but I think for me, um, just acknowledging that
Hmm.
is helping my mental health, right?
Right.
And then just sitting back talking about it and saying, okay, you know what? This is how I'm feeling in this situation, right?
Hmm.
And so I think that's really helpful because this whole thing with mental health, I think is it's just saying express yourself and don't bottle things up.
Hmm.
Because when you bottle things up, I don't care what it is, it's gonna explode. Or
Sooner,
it's gonna come out in a negative way.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Sooner or later, it's coming out.
Yeah. 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 Um Let me read some of these. What can you do? What can you do personally to help yourself in with mental health?
Mm.
So, what are some things you can do to help yourself?
You can try your best to have a positive thought. You know what I'm saying about a negative situation. Like think yourself out of it.
Oh, that
Um.
ain't gonna work for you.
Oh
No,
yeah,
I'm just playing.
man. It's kind of like the more you think negative of the situation, you make it bigger than what it really is.
Man, you know
Oh,
what? I was just talking to a friend about that today,
uh-huh.
and I was saying I don't try to come into situations um negative or try to come in. I just want to be happy, right?
Right, right, right.
And sometimes when people are coming at you and it's a negative situation or a manipulation type situation, it kind of brings you down. I'm gonna say for me it does, you
Yeah,
know.
it can. So you gotta speak that word over it, man. If we truly know how much power our word have, I'm thinking
Mhm.
of that time when David went up against Goliath, right?
Right?
And he went back to what he did before. He went back to his resume. He said, "Hey, I got a bear and a lion on my resume, right?" And so we need to know that we have a bear and a lion on our resume. What was the bear and what was the lion? That was that situation that would have took somebody else out, but it didn't take us out. That was
Okay.
we had to bury our mothers and we were strong enough to prevail and make it through. That's that bear and that lion that we have on our resume.
Right.
And so what he did was he told Goliath, not only am I going to defeat you, but I'm going to cut your head off, right?
Right.
So he replayed what he did in the past in order to pre-play what was going to happen. And so I think that's what we have to do when we facing obstacles. We have to replay, hey, the same God that brought me out of this and that and out of this sickness and that disease, and the same God that kept me when I was about to lose my mind, that's the same God that's going to keep me in this current situation. And so if you presently call yourself victorious over whatever you're going through and you take the necessary steps, then you'll get there. Of course, it's going to be steps to take, but
Hmm.
it all starts from your thought and your words. So, that's my greatest advice to a person and to myself. Keep your thoughts positive, keep your words positive, and go forth like you already won.
Absolutely, man. I just want to be happy. You know what I mean? I just want to, you know, I like to laugh and joke and I just like to be happy, bro. Someone has said, do you think social media uh, plays a role um, in mental health?
I'm going to say absolutely, from my opinion. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because of the standard that's on social media. I think
Okay.
that they put on social media, your body have to look like this. So a lot of women they go out, they get the surgery, they want to fix themselves. They feel like in order to be appreciated, in order to get certain man's attention, I have to look like this. And so social media has put that standard, and then the violence that's on social media. All day
Okay.
you seeing violence and certain things become a norm. It's become a norm for us to see a man laying on the ground with a foot on his neck till he dies. It becomes the norm to know that if you get pulled over, you gonna get shot in the head and it's on tape.
Yeah.
It's become the norm. So that plays a big role in your mind. It plays a big role in it. So if it's playing a big role in your psychological, it affects your mental health and one
Right.
another. And so it's important to detox before you go to bed, because you'll go to bed with all that on your mind. And you know what I'm saying? That's where meditation come in at. That's where saying positive words come in at. That's where reading your word come in at, because we being attacked, bro. We being
Yeah,
attacked
we are. We
through
are
so
definitely are.
we being attacked through the foods. We being attacked through so many things. And so you have to have some positive in order to balance that thing out. But yeah, we definitely being attacked by social media. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, I agree, and I think us as us as adults uh, are attacked, but more than anything, I think the children.
Yeah.
I think the children, and they're being attacked and don't even know they're being attacked,
I know
right?
bullying
And
started too, man.
then just the influence,
Mm-hmm.
just different influences or different things that they put out there, put on there. Um, and I thank God for my wife and my niece um, with modern with watching what Harper does on social media,
Oh yeah,
right?
you
Yeah,
definitely.
I really do. I I try to chill out, but I have an issue, um, and it's probably me because I'm like I don't like it. But with the dance, because she be wiggling and jiggling, and I'm like, yeah, Uncle don't like that dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm
And
laughing. You told
huh?
me age when you say wiggling and jiggling.
I'm just saying. I
Nah,
listen, brother.
yeah.
I, I you know, we got to pick our battles. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We got to pick our battles. I know everything that she's doing is innocent, right? But I just try to again just pick my battles. And as a guy, I'm just like, hey, you
I've-
know,
And then you know what I'm saying. It could be innocent to them, right?
yes,
But you know what I'm saying. That's a way that the enemy could come in order to control and manipulate. You know what I'm saying?
correct, correct,
No, the enemy don't care whether we knowingly or unknowingly serve him. Only thing he cares that he got our attention and that we doing it. I think
yeah,
that many reasons when they say we perish from a lack of knowledge. We thought it wasn't a bad thing, but in our reality, it turned out to do it. So you just have to be conscious of everything that you do, man, because it could real deal be the difference between life and death.
right.
Mhm.
Where where do you where do you where do you think we can go to receive help for mental health?
Help for it.
Yeah.
Um,
What is your opinion with that?
I think is absolutely necessary to receive help. I think a great part of having good mental health is healing, right?
Hmm.
Healing, and so how can you heal from something that you never addressed, something that you never talked to a professional about? You know,
Mm.
people who,
Okay. Now, do you think it has to be a professional?
uh, nah, not necessarily, but
Because I personally got friends that know it all.
you definitely want to seek wise. You definitely want to seek wise counsel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm not finna ask a single person how to be married. That
yeah.
don't. I'm not finna ask a person who don't own a business something about entrepreneurship. Well,
Right.
I'm asking somebody who never owned a business something about entrepreneurship. So you have to.
But I'm gonna be honest. Them be the main people that want to give you advice, or that know, or that has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Those are the main people, bro. I'm telling you,
Drivers, how somebody in the back seat always talking about how you should drive.
man. The main people, you be like, okay.
Or you always get the I would have did this if it was me type people. You know what I mean?
Friends, how many times a day do I get that?
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness, that's the craziest to me.
That you would have did. People say they would have did this if they was you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm like, man, I earned the right to make this decision. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
Because I often said that too. I was like, if I was P, I wouldn't have mirrors in my house. But
Shut up.
this is my opinion, though.
All right, all right,
I had to get you back from earlier. It's like boxing; you can't just jab, man.
man. Listen, you see, I parried that.
Good work, good work, good work.
um, here's a big one. How does finances affect your mental health?
That's big, man, because
Yeah, I thought so too.
that's big. I think one of the most misquoted scriptures in the Bible is when people say money is the root of all evil. That's not what it says. It says that the love, the Love, the love for money is the root of all evil.
Right.
No, money solve everything. If you don't got it, then you can't do certain things.
Yeah.
So
You
I
know
think
what?
love it.
Not to cut you off, and I'm sorry.
Uh,
Most people will use different scriptures or different words for their own personal benefit.
right.
Yeah. And try to, oh, they say that's evil. Yeah, I don't want no money or this and that. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't agree with that.
Hey, if you ain't got no money, you can't even buy no tissue, no nothing. So it's gonna be a terrible situation, if you don't have if you don't have no money at all. How is you getting your deodorant? How is you getting the things that you need if you don't have nothing at all? You know what I'm saying? So to say that I don't want no money, that's definitely not the truth, man.
Well,
You
I
gonna
would say this: Harper ain't got no money and she living good right now. I don't know what's going.
hey,
Nah, for real,
if I
huh?
got that P money, I'm gonna be all right too.
Oh my god.
I'm about to figure out how I can get a hold of it. But yeah, you gotta have some money, man. But you just shouldn't make it, bigger than your spirituality, of course, or
Hmm.
make it, what I'm saying, determine, major decisions in life that don't revolve around money. So it's just about, being smart about it and having that balance. That balance is important for everything, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody said money is the root to all evil when you worship money.
When you worship it. Because
Yeah.
it's the word that I was saying, that love. Because your love for it, will make you worship it, and then that's when you'll get people that do corruptible things for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, they'll do corruptible things for it.
Right.
Uh,
So.
yeah, I was reading on the internet and somebody wrote this quote that that financial that wellness means taking steps taking steps financially to achieving some of the things that you want to achieve financially. I like that definition of
Absolutely. Yeah, they went out.
it.
Somebody asked to come in, but they end up going out. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, what's your overall thoughts with mental health?
Man, my overall thoughts is that it should be something that we continue to improve on, and all of us gonna have strengths in it, and all of us gonna have areas of improvement. But we definitely should make honest assessments of who we are. I think we should ask ourselves, am I okay? You know what I'm saying? And find out whatever we need to add or take away
Hmm.
from our life to make sure that we are okay. You know,
Okay.
um, I think that it's become an issue in the way that it have because
Hmm.
it's been neglected like never before. So if we
Okay.
stop neglecting it and be proactive on it, then we'll get that victory over it overall.
Absolutely. How are you today?
Hey P, how are you doing?
I'm
Good,
good. How are you?
good. Hey Lorenzo, how are you doing?
Good, good, good.
You guys, well, I don't know if you guys follow my Instagram page, so you know I'm big on mental health, and I
Yeah.
just share my little 2 cents because I've had a lot of personal. I suffered from some mental health issues after I had my daughter, and so
Okay.
experiencing that, it just really created this passion in me to really talk about it, to give people the courage to open up about their mental health. I feel like that's the biggest thing is
Hmm.
sometimes when you're dealing with anxiety, depression, or, sometimes even when you're dealing with depression, you can try to think positive, but sometimes it just won't. The depression just stays, it lingers. You try to do
Sure.
fun things, you try to do things that you love, and it's just still there. So the
Right.
biggest thing I wanted to say is to acknowledge your feelings, accept how you feel, because I'm a positive person. I've always been a positive, optimistic person. But
Okay.
after suffering from postpartum depression with my daughter, it was like I could not come out of it. I tried to go shopping. I tried to, do funny things, and
Mhm.
it would relieve it just for a little bit, and then after it I would slide right back into this funk. But the biggest thing for me was accepting where I was and that I was experiencing postpartum depression
Mhm.
after giving birth to my daughter, and that is normal, and to just feel how I feel, continue to do positive things that honor what I like to do, and just wait for it to pass, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just really wanted to just add that tip in there, because some people who suffer from panic disorder, or panic disorder from experiencing anxiety from major changes in life, sometimes it is hard to cope with how you're feeling, even when you're trying to do your best to be positive. And I used to not really believe in postpartum depression. I
Mhm.
didn't really think it was a real thing until I experienced it, and it lasted for
Right.
8. And after coming out of it, just the biggest lesson I learned was to feel how you feel, acknowledge your feelings. If you're feeling anxiety, accept that, especially if you're a positive person. If
Right.
you're always positive and you're always encouraging others, and you're like, dang, why am I in this funk? Accept it. That's just where you are in life. Be real with yourself, because that's the only way you can move forward. If you're feeling depressed and sad, and you can't get out of bed, or you can't go to sleep, you have to acknowledge that, and sit with it. I think the hardest thing with mental health is it's hard to sit with your feelings. It's hard to sit with despair and sadness and anxiety, not unsure of the future. It's hard to sit with all of that. And so just learning to, like, it's okay. This is where you are right now. It's going to
Okay.
pass, and everything's going to be okay.
What gave you the courage to come out?
Um, I think it's just, I just wanted to help women who might would have had my same thinking process.
Mhm.
Like, postpartum isn't a real thing, or, you're a bad mother if you just, giving birth to your daughter or to a baby should be one of the happiest moments in your life. So
Right.
there's this complex that you go back and forth with, like, why am I depressed and sad when this should be the happiest moment of my life? I just gave birth to my daughter. And so
Okay.
even though I was happy to be a mom, and I was enjoying her every second of her, there was this other part of me that just felt like empty, like, like I wasn't myself, I wasn't there. And so being that I did have that negative mindset when it came to like postpartum depression, it's not real,
Sure.
or you're not a good mother if you're sad and down, it that's what empowered me to be honest about how I felt, so other people can have the courage to say, okay, she went through that. I'm going through the same thing. So let me talk to somebody. Let me not
Okay.
be afraid to admit that, hey, I'm struggling. I'm dealing with depression, anxiety, even though I just gave birth, to a baby, and it should be the happiest moments of my life. I'm not doing good. So I
Okay.
think it's good to talk to someone like that, and to have support. That's one of the things I wish I wouldn't have done, was isolate myself, because that's another
Right.
people,
Right.
when they go through mental health issues, they want to isolate. And so I kind of just withdrew from I didn't even want to talk to my family about it. And so that's one of the biggest things. You don't want to isolate yourself. You definitely want to lean on someone who is patient, understanding, and who is not going to judge you for feeling that way.
I think what's important, I'm gonna say for me, what was important is to have three or four go tos, three or four people you can go to. Most people say, "Oh, I got one." I
Right.
think it's important that you have. I'm speaking for myself, and I'm not gonna. For me to have three or four people I can go to or talk about different situations. The reason why it's important for me, so I can bounce this off of a person, bounce
Right.
this off of a person, then get all this information, and then make a decision from there.
I
A
believe
lot of people
that, because you
won't.
don't put all your eggs in one basket with one person.
Right, right.
Hmm.
And my thing is just getting different opinions
Right.
and saying, okay, you know what, I'm just trying to get this opinion. I'm asking you, I'm asking you, and I'm asking you, and you get all this information, and then come up with whatever your logic is, and say,
Right.
okay, this is what it is. Some people may not agree with that, and that's okay. that's just the way I handle certain situations. You know what I mean?
I think that's good. I think everybody has three people they can go to. My go-to people are, my best friend, my sister Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to my dad. I have a very close relationship with my dad, and
Sure.
I have other female best friends that I can talk to. And I
Okay.
think it's good, like you said, to get those different perspectives, because everybody has their different experiences that they
They
can
do.
give you, that they've dealt with something.
They do. They
Hmm.
do. They do. What's your thoughts with that, Rance?
I just have one question for her, and it's no right or wrong answer, but with the
No,
postpartum,
it's the right answer.
I
It's
hear
the right answer on here today. No,
you
I'm kidding.
I talking about that in the past. Do you think postpartum has increased as of recently, or you think more women are just coming forth and talking about it?
It's both. So, I'm in school currently working on my psychology degree, and I actually wrote a paper on this and did a lot of research. So, one of the things my professor loved that I did talk about it, and she said it's not, people are not talking about it, it's not addressed. I think it's slowly coming out as during the pandemic, and we're seeing people being more open about how the pandemic had a very heavy impact on their mental health. So I do believe there is more light coming out. It's not enough, but tons of women experience postpartum depression.
Mm.
But basically what happened is, like, your body goes through this phase of giving birth, and the hormones are trying to get back in line, and it can leave your body shell shocked, and you can just feel not like yourself. And then some women experience baby blues. It lasts for 3 months, sadness, crying for no reason, lack of appetite, isolation, not being able to sleep or sleeping too much. And then for some women, it turns into postpartum depression. So for me, after 4 months of feeling depressed, sad for no reason, lack of energy, not wanting to, just having no zeal for life, just feeling gray, like blah. That's how I felt after 4 months of going through that and trying to be positive, trying to do things that normally would make me happy. I had to accept the fact that I was going through a disorder, like something mental. I just had to wait for it to pass, at like postpartum depression. And then
Mm.
after some women suffer from postpartum depression, they can actually suffer from anxiety after, or panic disorder. So, and a lot of people suffer from anxiety and panic disorder, and that's something that we don't talk about enough. But yeah, a lot of women experience postpartum depression. I think the stigma around it is, if you just gave birth and had a baby, and it's supposed to be the happiest moment of your life, why are you depressed? Why are you sad? What's wrong with you? Why are you crying for no reason? And it's like people want you to, snap out of it, and it's just not something you can snap out of. It's kind of like you have to wait for it to pass. It lasted with me for 8 months.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's I'm glad that you thankful that you said that, because sometimes we want people to get better right away, but it sounds like steps to getting better. And
Absolutely.
it's one, or sometimes you may even go back, but as long as you eventually get to that phase where your mental health is more positive than negative, then that's what we all want. But that
Right.
definitely plays a major part. So yeah.
And so now that has created empathy in me
Mhm.
for anybody that might be going through any kind of mental health issue.
Right.
And so that's where my passion comes from helping people to, like, it's okay to feel how you feel. Even if you're the most optimistic person in the world, it's okay to say, you know what, today I'm not doing good. Today I was sad. Today I need to cry. Today I felt depressed. Today I had no zeal for life. I'm just not having a good day. Because if you try to overlook it and try to be positive and just stuff it down, that's when it becomes a deeper issue in the long term. And then you find yourself upside down. Fast forward when, just feel how you feel, acknowledge it, be honest, and know that it's okay.
Okay.
So you're saying, when you were saying that, you're saying people sort of bottle it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but I'm depressed? No. Especially me, the optimistic Amber. It's like,
Right.
depressed? It's like, what?
Okay.
That was
Okay.
hard for me to admit that I am going through depression, because I love to empower people. I love to inspire people. I love to motivate and tell people you can do anything. And here I'm this inspirational person, and I'm depressed. that mentally just wasn't sitting right with me. But it was
Okay.
until I actually acknowledged it, talked to my sister Brittany about it, how I was feeling. She said, you might be going through this. I did some research, and I had to accept the fact that that's what it is. And it's
Okay.
okay. It's okay. Just it's going to pass. Just acknowledge it, work through it. Sometimes work through it is taking it a second at a time, a minute at a time, a day
Okay.
at knowing that you're going to be okay.
How do you think men handle depression, in your opinion?
Okay,
And
so
and and, and a follow-up question. And as a woman, how do you feel like you could be helpful?
I think the way men deal with depression sometimes is they gravitate towards something that can take all of their attention. It can be different things. It could be work. It could be I don't know, watching too much TV and not doing anything. It could be overworking out. It could be drinking.
Mhm.
Um,
Your volume.
She
Sleeping,
Okay.
getting caught up in a routine where you work, you do all the work, you come
Yeah.
home, you work, and it's that pattern because I've actually watched someone, go through that pattern. Um,
Okay.
not taking care of yourself, not really being. Sometimes I've seen people let their hygiene go. I've seen people not, be interested in their personal appearance.
Mm.
Kind of always bad all the time. So I think that's how men deal with depression, and they kind of like wrap it up as I got to take care of these bills. I got to take care of the responsibilities when it's really running from a problem.
mm-hmm.
And I think if you have a wife or a partner who sees that, I think the best thing that a wife or a partner could do for their husband is to just create a safe space for them to open up about how they feel without any judgment. Because sometimes when you
Mm-hmm.
create that space, you can hear some things that you don't want to hear. That you were like, what, you feel that way? But I think that's just important to say, hey, I notice you do this, you do this. I noticed you just been stuck in this routine for days. You kind of angry, short tempered, go to sleep. Let's create the safe space. Like, tell me what's going on. Open up
Okay.
and really just be patient and listen. Listen, don't talk. That's a big thing. I think whether you're a man or a woman, sometimes when we want to know what's wrong with a person, we can try to be so quick to give advice instead of just listening. So
Mm.
I think listening is a big one, and just creating that safe space for them to really just say how they feel without any judgment, and just because they have every right to feel how they feel, even if you don't agree with it. And if you're on the opposite side of somebody that's dealing with depression and they open up about how they feel, it might hurt your feelings. You have to understand what they say is not a reflection of you. That's just how they feel, and they have every right to feel that way.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, I love that. I love that. You got any more questions for her, Rand?
Man, she covers some powerful stuff, and I think she has a great outlook on men, and everything she said was facts, and even down to the fact of saying that everything down to the fact of saying sometimes you just want somebody to hear. I know sometimes when I call Gates, I'll say it like, "Hey man, I ain't asking for you. I ain't listening to your opinion. Just let me vent."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll do
Yeah.
it, and it will be, where I want that.
I sneak something in anyway, though. I'm gonna sneak it in. No.
Because sometimes we can have irrational thoughts or feelings. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we can just be like a little bit dramatic about a situation.
Mhm.
And so it's like that's why we don't want anyone's opinions, because we need to express that, over dramatize what
Right.
we're saying, and then filter it out, and then get back down to like, okay, what's real about this and what's not real about this. But
Right.
regardless of how you feel, whether it's over the top or not, you have to let it out, journal it, tell it to somebody. And
Yeah.
as you get it all out, work yourself back down to what's true and what's a lie, what's false and what's real.
So like I said, Ren's is one of my go-tos if I'm having a situation. My brother is one of my go-tos, and what I really appreciate, I have several people, and they'll give me different.
Mm-hmm.
he'll give me the real, but he'll bring it back around to scripture, right? My brother will give me real, but his real is coming from his experience.
Right.
So everybody is giving you, and so that's why I say I have several people that I'll go to or that I'll ask situations,
Hmm.
and all of them are coming from a different angle.
I I think that's good because it
Yeah,
just allows you to just look at those different perspectives and see how can you pull from each one and
yeah,
uh take the advice and move forward. Or if you don't need to take the advice and move forward,
hmm,
that's good.
absolutely. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you for dropping in on us.
I had to come in here.
Man, anytime, man. And like I said, we definitely appreciate it. And we definitely appreciate your support also. So
Thank,
thank you.
thank you. Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
I don't know how to leave, so you can kick me out.
I got you. What's your thoughts on that, brother?
Man, I'm thankful for her, you know.
Man, I am also.
And man, it's just good to hear, you know, for
Hey,
me, from a
how you
woman's
doing?
perspective.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. Last time I did this by accident. Today was very intentional.
Okay.
Okay, let's get it. Let's get it. How you doing
Sorry,
today?
I'm getting better, slowly getting better. Um, but two things. And Lorenzo, I think I was cut you off when I was coming in. I'm sorry.
No, you fine. Go ahead. I want to hear what you
Yeah,
got to
he don't
say.
matter. So just go ahead and say what you gonna say.
So, one, full disclosure, I'm a doctor
Okay.
and I've got an undergrad psych degree because this is something that is very important to me to help all people,
Sure.
but definitely our people first and foremost,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
it's something that we've always been open to. And this is an era, this is a generation where it's required. And I love that. But when it comes to talking to, like you guys mentioned, the professional angle,
Hmm.
please do. It doesn't matter which doctor it is,
Sure.
doctor you're seeing, if they're not the ones that can help you, they can refer you to somebody that can.
Sure.
And I somebody mentioned in the comments, doctors just want to medicate you. If that's what you get, if that's the feeling you get in that appointment, that doctor is not the right person for you.
Hmm. Because
Yes.
we're talking about mental health, about your thought process, not, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And there are some situations where, yes, we talk about medication to help work through the symptoms. So you get to the point where you can have those clear thought processes.
Yeah.
They
Sure.
work. You can talk to, because when the lady before me, when she said, and when you said about your three, my brother, my sister-in-law, I got my three.
Hmm.
It's also good for me to have somebody that's objective because, like,
Yes.
Eyes. Yeah, that's
you
true.
can't, even when it's accidental, unintentional, sometimes the influence that people have, the relationship you have with them can color their perspective,
Mm.
Hmm.
not what you need. Sometimes you got to talk about the people in your life. And that doesn't work really well when you're three or you're four
All
all
right.
know each other. You need that freedom and
You
that flexibility.
know, I'm gonna be honest. My people know each other, but they don't know each other. They don't even have each other number. But I'll say, okay, this person, and I do that intentionally. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why is I want to talk about if I'm talking about a situation, I may have an issue with them, right? And I don't understand how to handle a situation. I just had a situation like that, right? And I called Renz and talked to him about it. I called another friend and talked to them about it. And come to find out it was me, right?
Don't you hate when that happens?
I'm a big man, so I can take it.
But it's
but
that growth, yes.
but the situation, yeah, and but sometimes you talking to your people, they'll have you understand. Say, okay, you know what? They were coming at this angle, you were taking it this angle, or you were unsensitive in this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't my intention, right? But I think growth is everything. And growth is sometimes looking at yourself and say, you know what? I made a mistake, or I was unsensitive in this situation and I wasn't trying to be.
Hmm.
That's good. That's powerful.
Yeah.
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 And
I
that's
like what both of you guys are saying. I definitely like what she's saying too. What sometimes you do need that professional who don't know you, but that's good.
Mhm.
Got people who gonna keep it 100% real with you no matter what, even if
Right.
you don't like it. And them the kind of people you want on your team, because when we talking about growth and having good mental health, in order for us to get better as a people, you need
mhm,
someone who's going to be cut and dry,
exactly.
and not take your feelings and accountability sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And your feelings, but this is the truth.
Because at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, no matter who you're talking to, no matter what you're taking or not taking, if you look yourself in the eye, oh, I'm being I'm being honest, I'm being authentic, and I'm truly doing my best, nothing else anybody says is gonna matter.
Right. Right. Yeah.
From
That's,
your perspective, young lady, what's the thing you do the most, or the greatest thing that keep your mental health intact? If you had one or two things, what would you name?
Top two, meditate and pray.
Meditate and pray. I love it.
Because I pray I could do a devotional every morning. So
Mm,
okay.
and someone else's pre-written prayer. But when I haven't stopped to pray on my own and just talk to God, or I've been doing that, thank you, I'm so grateful, that kind of cute measured prayer, not that
oh,
open, honest, with my chest out, I can
Hmm.
feel it. I feel like my spirit is heavier and my mental health is not where it should be.
okay.
So doing
Yeah.
those two, definitely, because like
Yeah.
you,
I totally get that. And I guess I say that because I'll pray with my nieces before they go to school and my wife before she leaves, and we'll all pray together. But it's a quick go out the door prayer. But sometimes you just need to sit back and say, let me talk to you about this, God. Let
Right.
me say thank you for this,
mhm,
right? And sometimes it's just a you and I situation with God.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely get that. I
and
definitely get
probably
that.
for 2020, I bought a lifetime membership to the Calm app
Okay.
because I knew with the way everything was going, I needed that as a step in my life. And now they've added to where you can meditate in motion, but I
Mm,
have to do that at least 10 minutes a day just for myself and to stay balanced and at my best, not only mental health, but my physical health too.
yes.
Mhm.
Because you can't have one without the other. They're part of you as a person.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of times I use the wellness wheel, right? And
Okay.
the wheel has 7 slices to it, from the spiritual to the emotional, the intellectual, the physical, the social, the environmental, and the financial. And we mentioned just about all of these today, but it's not just one slice. It's slices to this pizza that you
Hmm.
have to take out, and you have to spend time in each one in order for that wheel to be round, and for order for us to move forward and maneuver like we need to.
Hmm.
So a lot of times when it comes to the spiritual part, you'll get a lot of people in the African American community, they think just going to church make you spiritual. And
Right.
that it will make you spiritual if you spend so much time on the spiritual till you're not dealing with the emotional or the intellectual, physical. Then you're gonna have a false balance in one or the other, and
Hmm.
your mental health is not gonna be good as a result. So you have to take those 7 pieces and you have to spend a certain amount of time in each one in order for that wheel to go around and for us to move forward like we want to do. So I challenge everybody to look up the wellness wheel and just apply it to your life and spend adequate amount of time in each session.
And then going back to some of I think somebody said it earlier, making sure that your physical wellness is complete, not just I feel pretty good,
Right.
but are your habits balanced? Are you drinking enough?
Mhm.
Are you moving your body sufficiently? What are you
Right.
because if you're not balanced there, what you think, how you feel, what you see about the world is not going to be balanced either.
Yeah. And I more. Renz is a big one. I'm gonna say for me, that's what he does. That's exactly what he does. He's a trainer, and he's on it with the wellness. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
but I also think of ways where that improvement is needed, and because all of them have to have again that adequate amount of time, and then in order for you to move forward and be who you was called to be. So I'm interested in moving forward in those areas that I need, and I'll never
Absolutely.
have it together because when you do, that's when you're gonna be in the most trouble.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you, young lady. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in with your input, and thank you for your support also. Like I said,
Absolutely.
we really, really appreciate you guys.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Man, Renz, that was great, my brother.
Yeah, powerful subject, man, and
And I appreciate them coming in and just sharing with us and engaging with us, man. That was great. I love it. I love it. So, what's your final thoughts on this?
man, my final thought is that our mental health is key. Our mental health affects other people's mental health because other people are connected to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're reminded when we get on the airplane, they say, in case of emergency, apply your oxygen mask first before helping someone else.
Mm. Don't
Make,
kill me with it. Don't kill me with it. That's real.
we
That
should
was that
take
was
care of
too real.
so that we can, help assist to take care of somebody. You
Mm-hmm.
you're big in the community. You big when it comes to your nieces and your nephews, and so many people depend on you. But it doesn't matter if you don't take care of yourself. So
Yeah.
mental health, taking care of yourself, and being conscious of the next person's mental health as well, so that we can get better individually. We can get
Right.
better and move forward as a people. So that's my final thought.
Man, I guess my final thoughts would be self-preservation, man.
Mm,
I mean, I I have to, in order for me, like what you were just saying, to help anybody else, I have to help myself.
mm-hmm,
And I think don't be afraid to talk to someone or ask for help,
absolutely.
or don't be afraid to. A friend of mine was just talking to me, and I said, "Man, I really need to talk to you because a close friend of theirs just committed suicide."
Mm-hmm,
And so he had called me and was just kind of bawling. And I was just talking to them, and I said, "Man, don't ever be afraid to talk about a situation or call me or whatever you're feeling. Let's just talk through it." You know what I mean? Because we never know what people are going through. We never know what people are going, and especially us as men. Um, you know, it's tough. It's tough because we got a backpack full of stuff on us, man. A
mm-hmm.
backpack full of stuff, and
Right.
then we're just carrying around so much and trying to please everybody. You know what I mean? From family, friends, work, everything. Um, and sometimes we just need to get a relief, or sometimes we just need to
Mm-hmm,
just take a deep breath or say, okay, hey, I, it, I'm comfortable now saying, I don't know.
mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to handle this situation.
Learning on the job.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And
So,
that's life, man. That's this whole journey because it constantly changes.
yeah,
And when you think you got it figured out, then you have to figure something else out because it changes again. And
yeah,
just when you get comfortable with your 20s, you're 30. And when you get comfortable with your 30s, then you're 40 or
right.
55. So, it constantly changes. You're 55 now, right?
You know what I was gonna say? I hope my wife ain't watching this because
Well,
I tell her I know everything.
uh,
So hopefully she ain't watching this. Man, I love you, my brother,
man,
man.
I
I
appreciate you.
appreciate you, man. I
It
definitely appreciate you and thank you, man.
went
So,
longer than we normally do, but it was necessary. Necessary.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, another episode in the books, man. And I appreciate everybody, man. Like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everybody that tuned in, that listened to us, that support us. Man, we definitely uh, just have nothing but love for you guys. Have
Definitely.
nothing but love for you guys. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.